Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning, Miss. Good morning. Yeah. So, please wait for 3 minutes to see whether other people is coming.
Sigo. Kita juga dipatiin. Diterima tiket.
Please wait in a few minutes. Thank you.
Không được. Nhỏ với cái nhỏ ha. Giảm bớt lên cái.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, I think we can start now.
There.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Simon speaking. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Simon.
Morning. Hi. Okay, good. Nice to see you all. Okay, and I think we have this session today. Of course, okay. I think some of you, okay, we may met, and then actually, we visit your factory, introduce the expectation related to the social compliance or labor standard, or what kind of documents we expect from your factories or your partner factories to prepare, okay, for any potential request from the U.S. Customs. And I think, okay, it is good time that, okay, we have that kind of refreshment or revisions, okay, on those requirement or expectation that, okay, if and also if you have any questions, so you are not so sure, you're welcome, okay, to share and then ask, okay, during this session. But of course, first of all, okay, we want to try to give you more information or some kind of details that, okay, you can have some kind of enhancement on the understandings. Okay, so actually this is something, okay, very casual, and then if in case, okay, you do have any questions, just, okay, raise up your hand, or okay, just chime in. I think that would be more interactive. Okay, so I then, okay, pass it, okay, to my team member. Okay, they will lead, okay, the training today. All right. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Simon. So we will share our screen. Yeah. So wait a minute. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Jung, maybe before we start, can we say something? I just want to hands on the factory so far in the last more or less 1 year that you are very cooperative with our team in the progress of the traceability programs, and also very transparent to us in your supply chain. And because of the US requirement, we are trying to comply with the market trend as well as the requirement from the US law. That's why we are working with you very closely on some of the visits and also some of the documentation requirement. And on behalf of the IBS team, I would like to thank everyone again for the T1 vendors as well as the T2 and T3 spinning mill so far very like cooperative with us. And also we also received some of the questions from the factory management team during the visit. that's why we want to organize this section. It's not a training, but like we just share some of the updated information or the information you know already, but maybe this is the like a refreshing information for us to know each other more, and also to give you some more information that you maybe not know before. So today's section, Chung from the Hanoi office of IPS and also Anle from Ho Chi Minh office will go through all the information with you and share all of the requirements so far. It's not so new, but like in case you have any question, you can raise the question through the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and raise the question verbally with us. And even Simon and our team, we can try to respond to your question as much as possible. And thank you for your time spending this morning, and hope that you can spend 1 hour very valuable time with us. So thank you again, and we can start now.
Trending with the topic about social compliance and documentation traceability. You know IPS already. This is the written in brief of the independent production services. So our agendas have 4 sections. First, we talk about the U.S. Customs forced labor enforcement, identifying the risk in cotton supply chains, VS&Co risk mitigation strategies, and the key takeaway, and the Q&A section. But as Simon and Nga said, if you have any question, please feel free to input in the chat box or raise your hands, or you can unmute yourself and then let us know your question. Before we start the training, as this is only 1 hour, so I hope everyone will focus on it, and then we can have a very good training today to get more understanding of our requirement. Yeah. Firstly, we talk about the U.S. Customs forced labor enforcement. As you know already, but we want to repeat it again. We have the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act of 2021. This was signed into law in December of 2021 and come into effect in June of 2022. So what does it mean? Firstly, it is about the goods suspected to be produced with the forced labor are prohibited from entering the U.S. And the CBP, this is the Custom and Border Protections, can detain or seize the good without issuing withhold release order. The previously issued WROs for the goods from the specific regions are now under a rebuttable presumptions of forced labor, and the goods under this act may face detention or seizure. So that is the main content of the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. And then we have some requirements about the forced labor for the CITPA trace compliance. It's come into effect in August 2022. The main content is about the risk-based mapping. This means that we have to ensure that the supply chain is free from the use of forced labor. And the partners must create a code of conduct statement and also develop the policies and the procedure in place to make sure that the policies are implemented. We must have the evidence of the implementation. For example, we must show the social compliance audit reports. In this report, we will conduct the audit to detect the high-risk supply chain related to the forced labor. Besides that, we also conduct the due diligence and training, like we provide the training about the social compliance programs requirement to our supplier. And we also have the remediation plan. In case the forced labor is identified in our supply chain, we must provide this information to the CBP when we got the request. And we need to have the necessary step to improve it to correct the issues. This is some statistic for your reference from the CBP. You can come to the CBP website and check it. The statistic here is the figure from June of 2022 to July 2024. For your information, there has been about 9,128 shipments were detected, and in which there are around 3,600 shipments were denied, and 4,200 shipments were released, with the value is about 3.46 billion US dollars. And you can see the bottom on the left side, in which Malaysia is the #1 with the highest value of shipments, and Vietnam is the #2. For the second statistic here, you can see that it is only for the apparel and footwear and textile industry only. So the total shipment detected is about 1,661 shipments, in which nearly 1,000 shipments were denied and released 400 shipments. And the value is about 69.75 million US dollars. And also the highest shipment value is coming from Vietnam, and the second one is China.
And maybe we can explain a little bit more here in the detention, why U.S. Customs detented the shipment, because they want to ensure that in the supply chain, in all the goods coming to the U.S., there's no issue related to the forced labor or other issue that they have the concern. That's why they stop on the shipment going to the U.S. from all the country. Of course, this is the randomly only, but you can see that the number of the shipment they stop for check-in is quite a lot, right? And at the time when they stop the shipment in the border, they will ask on the brand like Victoria's Secret to ensure that we can submit all the required documents to the U.S. Customs to prove about the country of origin, to prove that we, in our supply chain of that shipment, there's no signal of the issue they have the concern. So at that time, for example, when one shipment detented into the U.S. border, we need to submit all the documents requested by the U.S. Customs at that time. So if for example, if they request the document submitted in 1 week or 2 weeks, we need to submit the document on time to them. So at that time, you can imagine that we can contact with our garment vendors to submit all the document. And the garment vendor, they need to contact with the fabric mill to have all the available document. And the fabric mill need to contact with the spinning mill to prove about the cotton they buy, about the material they bought, to submit all those documents to the U.S. Customs in only 2 weeks. You can imagine that the time is very rushed at the time, right? That's why IPS, we want to ensure that in case any shipment we have the issue with the U.S. Customs, on our vendor related to our supply chain, we need to be aware of that. That's why when we work with you closely, we always share the list of the document that maybe the U.S. Customs will request, so that you can prepare in advance. And whenever we request you to submit the document, the process will be faster. So I just want to share a little bit on the behind why the U.S. Customs try to detain on the shipment, and also like why we need to show this number to you so that you can see the seriousness of the issue, and hope that we can collaborate each other to show the issue if it happened. So thank you, and go ahead. Yeah.
Chị Nga, we will talk in details about the required document later in the lecture section of this training. So let me go ahead with the next slide. This is a sample of the detention notice for your reference. In this notice, you can see in some part we have highlighted with the red border. For example, this one, they talk about the required information, the required document. For example, the certificate of origin, the purchase order, invoice, and the proof of payment, packing list, payment records, bill of lading, shipping records, production records, inventory records, supporting the production, the list of production step, and the chain of custody records of the imported merchandise, transportation document, and daily manufacturing processes report. On the bottom here, they focus on the cotton products. They ask us to provide sufficient documentation to show the entire supply chain from the origin of the cotton at the bale level to the final production of the finished goods. We also need to provide a flow chart of the production process and map of the regions where the production's process occur. Number each step along the production process and number any additional supporting document associated with each step of production. And we need to identify all related parties involved in each step of this production process. So that is the request from the CPP in case of any detention happen. So what we can expect if the goods are stopped. First, the CPP will determine within 5 days of examining the goods whether they can release the goods or not. If they suspect the non-compliance, they will issue the detention or the seizure notice to the importer of record. And the importer have 30 days to provide the evidence, the document, that the goods comply with the regulation. And the submission must include with the English translation in the detail of the supply chain tracing information and evidence that the goods and their inputs were not produced in the restricted regions. This is for your reference. What is the result if there is any violation notice from the CPP? In case of the forced labor violation is noted, the violators may be fined or imprisoned up to 20 years. So it's a very high risk for us if there is any forced labor issues found in our supply chain. That's why, as we talked from the beginning to now, we would like to enforce our supply chain, to strengthen our supply chain, and we would like to let you know our requirement clearly. So, sorry. So how we can identify the risk in our cotton supply chain? There is some indicator that the ILO have defined as follow, like abuse of vulnerability, abusive working and living conditions, debt bondage, deception, excessive overtime, intimidation and threat, isolation, physical and sexual violence, restricted movement, retention of identity documents, or wage withholdings. So that is some indicator that the ILO define that there is a risk of forced labor. So who is involved in the traceability process? Here you can see that the whole supply chains will come from the cotton producers, spinner, and then the spinning mill, the fabric or dyeing mill, and cut and sew factories, we call the T1, and finally come to the retailer, the buyer like us. So the whole supply chain here is involved in the traceability process. All of us need to be prepared for that and provide all documents related to the manufacturing of the finished goods. Next, my colleague Jung will share with you about the VS&Co strategy.
Thanks, Anh. So we should start from here for a few minutes if anyone has any questions from the previous slide. So if you have any questions, you can unmute or you can type in the chat box. So if no questions, we'll continue with Victoria's Secret risk mitigation strategies. So from what Anh has shared earlier, I think you know you have better idea of why and what U.S. Customs requirements on forced labor enforcement. So for VS, we will we will show our implementations by doing some like we call risk mitigation strategies, including like we create a supplier code of conduct and deliver to our supply chains, including suppliers and factories from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We have a supplier compliance guidebook to provide detailed guidance for factories, for supplier and factories to know how to implement our code of conduct. We arrange audits and process remediation programs. We also have custom policies that we will provide to suppliers and factories in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We perform supply chain mapping. We conduct on-return testing and chains of custody. We will show detail on the next slide. And one of the implementations of to ensure control risk, we will source cotton fiber directly from the U.S. farmer. So how we are doing this? We have some activities accordingly, such as we conduct a social compliance audit for our own new factories after onboarding. And after that, we have annual audit for all tier supplies, including tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. After the audit, we process remediation programs to remediate the violations found during the audit. We also have a cotton policy and provide to all tier suppliers after onboarding, and we require them to sign to confirm their acknowledgement. And we conduct quarterly chains of custody by randomly selecting some PO or SKU from tier 1. Tier 1 means cut and seal factories, and ask them to provide a document as Na has shared earlier briefly. So what type of document we will share in the next slide. So tier 2 will provide a document to tier 1, and tier 3 will provide a related document to tier 2. So that is a whole supply chain's responsibility to provide related document. We also conducted quarterly written testing on fabric and finished goods containing cotton. The written testing currently we only apply for tier 2 fabric mills, and we consider to apply to tier 3 spinning mills in the future. And we also arrange the regular visit quarterly to all spinning mills to ensure that the traceability system are on tracking and up to date. So the visits is only focused on traceability system, which is different from audit or or social audit or quality audit. So there's no any report or pass or fail after our visit. Next slide, please. So this is our code of conduct. I'm sure that most of you already seen that. And as you can see from the screen that forced labels is on the top of our code of conduct. So we deliver code of conduct to all our supply tier and require them to post it in the facility in the local language so that the employee can read and understand about our code of conduct as well. Next slide, please. So this is our cotton policies. I'm sure that all of you already seen that and received it and signed all of acknowledgements. So one thing that we just want to emphasize here is this policy is not always up to date. So in case you want to source cotton from any countries or regions that you can see in this list, so you better check. You better to check with us or with VS raw material team first before you decide whether you source cotton from those countries or not. Next slide, please. Our audit, as Anh and Nga has shared earlier, that actually we have audit for all of our supply chains, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So the audit will be focused on social compliance in tier 2 and tier 3. And for tier 1, we have more programs such as security or trade compliance or brand protections. So as you know that the audit is annually for all the existing factories, or we will have pre-production audit for new factories. So the audit will be conducted by either nominated third party. Currently we are using Elevate, or we can have our own team, IPS team, to conduct the audit. So one thing that we want to make sure that all factories will be transparent during the audit. It means that all information documents should be displayed accurately, transparency to our auditors. So the audit will be no pass or fail, as I have mentioned. This is a continuous improvement. It means that whatever findings issues have found by auditors, we will work closely with suppliers and factories to remediate the violations. Next slide, please. We have 24 hours notifications policy. Actually, we call 24 hours notifications because any of those violations, as you see from the screen, found by the auditor during the audit, they will report to IPS team within 24 hours. So on the other word, you can heard about like zero tolerance issues by the other brand, but we call in different name. So we list our detail of 24 hours notifications issues in our guidebook, page 6 and 7, and you can see from the screen here. So I will not list out in detail because I'm sure that most of you know about these issues. Next slide, please. So for remediation, after all audit, we will have remediation programs. Whatever the issues you may call like whether minor, majors, critical or not, we still have remediations programs. So on the other what we call corrective action plan. And we expect that we have some questions. So let me see the question first. So the question from Cartex, for the audit by nominated third party, who will pay for the fee? Thanks for the questions. So currently, IPS pay for everything. For nominated third party for our internal audit. So in some case that you already have audit conducted by the other party, like you have BSI, you have SMETA, you should share with us first for our reference. I should say reference here means we are not sure whether we accept the share report or not, but for our reference to see whether the report is acceptable according to our expectations, and then we will decide whether we use nominated third party element to audit the factory or not. So we will pay fee if we nominate the third party for audit. Thank you. Yeah, I will now continue with the remediation programs. So after the audit, if any 24 hours issues found, we require the suppliers to work with factory to remediate the 24 hours issues within 30 days. And the rest of issues, like you may have some major minor issues, so you will have another 60 days to remediate all issues. It means that in total of the remediation period, you have 90 days to close everything, including critical 24 hours issue, major, minor issues. So in some case that you can't close the remediations within 90 days, we have some escalation process. We will report to higher management from IPS, from sourcing to decide for the next step. Next slide, please. So you may have questions on what is origin testing process. So this is a summary, a brief of what is origin testing process. You may know, like cottons may be planted in different countries, in different regions, but each country and regions have unique and different origins fingerprint. So the origins fingerprint samples will be collected and analyzed, and then stored in origins database. And after that, they collect the sample of products from supply chains all over the world for testing. And the products or the sample products will be tested against the fingerprint sample that they stored earlier, and they will have testing results, and the testing results will be reported to plant to us. So that is the whole process of origin testing. Do you have any questions on that? So as I mentioned earlier, that we will conduct origin testing quarterly by randomly selected some samples from the fabric mills. Next slide, please. We conduct the chains of custody. This is a kind of rehearsals on reviewing document. So NA has shares that the reasons why U.S. Customs stopped the shipment from the border to check whether is there any like forced labors found from the exporter, I mean the factory. So after they stopped the shipment, they will inform VS. As you can see, the sample of detention notice. They will send that notice, and they require VS to provide the evidence by document to prove that there is no any document, no any false labels using in the whole supply chains. So on the screen is the documents required, but you keep on mind that it is not the all document that they required. Sometimes they require less, sometimes they require more, but it is some basic documents that we obtain, we collect from the tier 1 factories, and then tier 1 will require the related document from tier 2, and tier 2 will require a related document from tier 3, and then we collect all together. We review those documents, and the chance of custody is to make sure that factories will be know well about the requirement. They know how to prepare the document, what document they should maintain on the whole productions, and to be familiar with the preparing documents, including like translations into the English, or highlighted some key information so that everyone can read it to understand the document very quickly and easily. So that is the purpose of change of custody that we are doing now, and we do it every quarterly by randomly selected some POs or SKU from the tier 1 factories. Next slide, please. So as mentioned previously, that we conduct quarterly visit to all spinning mill. Currently, in the past 2 years, we already visit all spinning mills in Vietnam and Indonesia, and we will have visits in other countries as well in the coming time. During the visit, we focus on traceability documentations and system, how and what the spinning mill can prepare to make sure that all products will be traced back to the cotton, at least jeans or trader. So it is very important that if all documents in the factory, the production document, you can show us that the information of Jan, for example, like Jan lot number, can be traced back from the Jan back to the cotton bales. So we recommend that factory will use any reference number that can be linked up each other, link up from this production department to the next production department, so that all the production's process can be traced back by the reference number. So from the pictures, there is reference pictures that the factories have scanning system, barcode scanning, so that when they scan the barcode from the original bales, cotton bales, so the barcodes will be generated and recorded in the system. And when they print out the report, all information of the bales number will be shown, will be indicated, so that we will know this was produced by how many bales and cotton from which countries and so on. And the system to ensure that the barcodes are recorded and traced back to the cotton gin or traders at least. Any questions from here? Next slide, please. So This is a whole thing that we want to present it today to emphasize of what we are doing, why we do, and what we need to do for traceability system. So here's some key points that you can take away from today. We expect that you understand about our code of conduct, our policy, our requirements related to traceability, and especially for related to forced labor. And you should know well about your supplier in the whole supply chains. Be transparent with us. Disclose your suppliers or suppliers so that we can have mapping of the whole supply chains. We expect that in the factories, you maintain all documents, be transparent and accurately, and we can review it in each hour visit. So you should maintain the inventory controls of the production records from the raw materials to the finished goods. And make sure that all related documents will be provided upon requested from your upper supplier, like when tier 3 was requested by tier 2, or tier 2 was requested by tier 1. So you will you have all documents to provide to them. So when you are requested to have audit testing, so you should know how to respond to the testing request. So this is our expectations, and hope that you have better ideas. You know how to prepare in the factory, and how you can work with your the suppliers to in cooperations with VS in traceability system. So we expect to hear some more questions from you. And I'm not sure whether Simon or Na have something to add.
I think okay, we share this information okay to our partners, okay, like you, okay. I think okay, actually we are in the same boat, okay. Why? US custom may receive information saying that okay, one of our shipment will be made from the cotton or some material that okay, there's some kind of forced labor scenario happen in the supply chain. That's including garment factories, fabric mill, and spinning mill. Okay, and okay, you can see the figures that okay were shared by my team member. Hey, like some shipment okay from Malaysia, from China, or from Vietnam okay being stopped by the US customs. And okay, they just give it about okay like 3 or 4 weeks. That's about 30 days okay to provide evidence that okay we don't have forced labors, okay, and then so they can release our goods. Okay, after that okay they will extrude our shipment. So what that means that okay of course okay we will lose, okay, and also you will lose, because actually they may of course okay for example we don't have business, okay, we will reduce our business, okay, so because okay we cannot okay ship the shipment okay to our shops. Okay, the other thing is also they will also blacklist the factories, okay, the company, okay. So that is something okay we will want okay your partnership, and then okay we work together. And this is first thing we need to do, okay, we share what we get, okay, to you. Like for example just now okay we show the sample of detention notice to you. Hey, this is something that requested by US customs. Okay, actually it's not okay from VS, okay, because of course we are very busy on doing okay production. Everyone knows about that, but the thing is we have to understand what is the legal requirement okay in the USI. So once okay we receive all this information, we are happy okay, to share with our partners like you, okay? So you get prepared. And so we work together, and then also how we deal with that. And we understand these are the things maybe new to you. And okay, we are happy, okay, to work together. And one thing is very important, I think, okay, that Joe mentioned, okay, transparency. So this is something, okay, we need to know what real situation in your factory, so we can work together, try to improve it, and also rectify, okay, the issue, okay, depending on the severity and also the urgency, okay. Of course, okay, you may have a good system, okay, right now, but I think, okay, there are more and more requirements from the market countries that, okay, we need to fulfill. Because, like, for example, they have like the social compliance due diligence process not only apply in US, also require, okay, in Europe. So this is something, okay, we need to understand the market situation, and this is something why we share with you. And as I say, okay, if, okay, I would say your name, okay, your factory name is on their blacklist, okay, then this is not only involving the business only with VS, also with other US client you are working with. So this is something I'm not so sure whether your clients will share with you, but this is something what we do, okay, from VS, and then so we can share with you, okay. So feel free, okay, to ask a question. And one more point, okay, to be a partner, this is something I think we have a good question, okay, who pay the audit fee. We don't mind to pay the audit fee because, okay, we want to work together, okay, one we identify and then we can work with you. But we need your cooperation, try to be transparent, so we know what to do. All right. Okay. So this is something I just want to share, and feel free to raise your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, because like if you don't have any question, it means that you will have more cooperative with us during the coming time when we have the visit schedule, or we also have the audit schedule with you as well as remediation process. So mean like no question, meaning that you understand everything about our requirements and you committed to have the collaboration and cooperation with us in the coming time, right? Hopefully we can expand our partnership continuously, and anytime you can have the question raised with our team with emails or during our visit with our team members. So IBS team is always welcome on the question and on the ideas, feedback from the supply chain suppliers.
Just sharing some positive information that during the past 2 years when we visited many spinning mills, and we got very good corporations, and they improve a lot. They update a lot in your in their traceability systems. So we appreciate and we hope that you can continue to do on that way, so that we are both in win-win relationship.
So maybe we wrap up here, Chung.
Yes. So thank you so much for the time to join our training today. And now just mentioned from the beginning, this is not a kind of training, but sharing more information. Something is not new, but that is a refresh, so that you have more idea. You can know well how and why we do it, because maybe some of you think why we need to visit you so much. So I hope that you already know why. And in the future, as we already mentioned, that we still continuous visit the spinning mills quarterly at the moment, and maybe we will change our policies next time. We will let you know. And we hope that the information today will help all of you to have better understanding and prepare in your factories. So if you have any questions, you may send email to our team, or you can reach out to any of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone, and have a
Send the
nice
training
day. Yeah.
email, and if you have any question, please send email to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a weekend.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you and bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.